Have you ever wondered how Magnus Carlsen plays Blitz? Good, because this video is for you. You know what? This video is for everyone, because who would not want to play like Magnus Carlsen, even if it is just for one game? I am very excited to share what I have learnt from listening to Magnus Carlsen play in his most recent Banter Blitz session on Chess24. Listening to Magnus explain his ideas is a gift. I would say in terms of explanations, this is one of his best Banter Blitzes yet. Thanks to Chess24 for hosting this, for getting Magnus to do these once every 2 months. After this video, I hope you feel inspired to try out these new interesting ideas with black. The first question must be, what is a Banter Blitz? This is when a top player, let's say an FM, FIDE Master, IM, International Master, or a GM, a Grandmaster, play and explain their moves at the same time. In this video, I will explain many examples showing how Magnus Carlsen plays Blitz with black. C4, D5. This is a Blitz session. Magnus may be the world champion, but he is still willing to play some dodgy stuff. C4, D5, this is the English Scandinavian. Normally the Scandinavian is this, or the center counter E4, D5, take, but Magnus goes for it the other way around. C4, D5, take, knight C3, queen A5. His opponent goes G3, E5, bishop G2, knight F6. Let's see how Magnus develops his pieces. E3, knight C6, knight E2, H5. H5, here we go. You will notice in many games in this Banter Blitz session, Magnus plays this H5 move. The idea is to get space on the king side, H4, trying to start an attack. So bear this middle game strategy in mind. If you have the chance to get your H-pawn up the board, to create some attacking chances, use it. D4, H4. Magnus pushes, take, knight in, bishop out. Developing with tempo, attacking the queen and getting the bishop out at the same time. F3, H3, really cool move. After H3, best was to take this, and after take, then so many options for black. The knight can take on G4, the rook can come to D8, the bishop can come out. White's king is still in the middle. Bishop F1 played. In this position, Magnus played a very stylish move. This is winning. Knight takes F3 check. But you won't believe this. Magnus just temporarily sacrifices queen. Queen takes C3 check. Taking is best. And the knight takes F3 check. It just works out. The king can only go to F2 or E2. If you go E2, you just get the knight out of the way. Knight E5 check. You can even take on H2 if you want. Then take the queen. But if knight E5 check, then you can grab the queen. And you're just winning. If king F2, this is why Magnus grabbed this knight. Because it was controlling the E4 square. So knight E4 check. King can't go to the red arrows. It can only go to E2 and it's the same thing. You can just move the knight out of the way. And then grab. E4, D5, Magnus plays the center counter. Knight F3, this is a weird Gambit line. Let's see how Magnus reacts. He takes and then goes E5. Queen attacks knight, so knight takes and he goes F5. You see, in Blitz, Magnus is very aggressive. He's very adventurous and very creative. This is how I suggest you play Blitz as well. Why not just go for it? It's really weird. It's move 4 and he's got 2 pawns in center. He's moved his F pawn. That's why it's a bit strange. Knight G3, knight out. Knight out, H5, here we go again. This is what I mentioned in the previous game. Bear this idea in mind. Play H5 when you have a clear idea, being H4 to generate a kingside attack. H3 played, H4, knight can go back to E2, but the opponent went passive, knight in the corner. Queen out, bishop out, castle. Let's see what happens. Knight out, take. Really cool move here. Queen E6, just a sidestep. No need to trade queens. I continue to show you this game because there's a really funny moment here. After Queen D5 offering a trade, a sensible move is just Bishop D6. Everything guarded. This is winning for black. The king can come in, attack this rook, kick, push, game over. Knight does not exist. But believe it or not, in this position, rook d8 was played. And guess what? White just traded rooks. Double blindness from both opponents. White could actually take the bishop. This is not checkmate because the king can come out. This pawn is now under attack, so black might play rook d1, king here, the game goes on. Let's see the rest, because this is so instructive, I still want to show you this. e4, locking it in, g3, and now f3. So instructive from Magnus, not even giving white a chance to get the knight out, because after take, this square is available, so you just shut it down, f4, amazing. This is too slow, the king is in time. Push, back, king up, king to the side, king up, take, white cannot do anything. Take another pawn and just play b6, stopping, and in this position, white resigned. King g2 is next, the knight is going to drop. Let's start here. With a structure like this, bishop and pawn, Magnus just went for it, h5. Here we go again, Magnus is just using his flank pawns when it's a good move. I suggest you play like this in your games. Get all your pieces out normally, and then get a flank pawn moving just to give yourself some attacking chances. h4, bishop out, castle, bishop out, rook out, facing the queen gets out the way, queen d7. Magnus is just taking over here. Knight f4, correctly trading, because after take, can't take this way because you drop your center pawn. In the game this capture was played, but this bishop is now dead. So a great exchange. So notice Magnus, he truly understands what pieces to exchange just to increase his advantage. Knight reroutes to f5. What a perfect spot for that knight. Eyeing this pawn, so this rook has to stay there. Eyeing this, maybe in the future you want to sacrifice. And this knight cannot be attacked, it is on an outpost. Rook c7, rook c8, improving the major pieces, doubling on c-file. Black's rooks are better than white's in this game. White only has one in the game. This rook is just doing a passive job. Rook f1, the guy blunders. Pawn drops, bishop in the corner, knight f3 check, take. Knight e2. Few more moves, I just want to show you a really nice finish. The rooks come off, take. Time to checkmate the king in the middle of the board. Queen b5. In this position, white can actually play queen b2 or queen a2 to stop checkmate, and I'll show you why soon. a4 played. Sacrifice. Just to remove the defender of this knight to this square. Rook takes c1 check, game over, because after take, queen e2 is mate. This is what I find so impressive. Even in a winning position, Magnus is still calculating right till the very end. If white has a resource, Magnus is going to find it. There's a move like queen b2. The reason is rook takes c1 check doesn't work because you take with the bishop. The queen actually still guards it. Even when Magnus is completely winning, he's still calculating right till the very end. Next example I want to discuss is this. In this position, black is winning. The opening was a disaster for white, but I still want to go through this example because there's an instructive moment. Black is winning because black has a rook for a knight. Black is a rook for a minor piece up. He is the exchange up. Magnus now plays two really cool moves. First move is a6, just to kick the knight away. And after knight a3, this knight might come into c4. I was just thinking rook b8, then maybe get the bishop out. But Magnus just plays a move that shows control. b5. I wasn't really thinking of this because white actually has a discovered check, but if we just calculate a few more moves, black is in total control because of the stranded knight on a3. This queen attacks the rook in the corner indirectly with knight f6 check. Queen takes rook. Black now plays a move just to retain full control. I love this move. That's why I wanted to go through this example. Queen d6. The idea. Queen attacks the knight. Bishop takes h2 check is also a threat. The main point is the queen attacks knight and this knight has run out of squares. You cannot play a move like rook b3 because bishop e6. Bishop attacks rook, rook attacks queen. If the queen gets out of the way, the rook drops and so does everything else. Take, take, this knight can drop. For example, take, take. Black is winning. Or you could retain even more control. Maybe play a move like rook e8 first. Then bishop takes h2 check is a threat. This knight is hanging. That's why in the game, after queen d6, the guy just sacrificed a knight. It's got no good squares, so knight takes b5. Take, take, bishop d7. Discovered attack. Just good chess from Magnus. Rook attacks queen, bishop attacks rook, game over. Rook d5, rook takes queen. The guy resigned because after take, take, you are just a bishop and a rook down. Blitz chess is about giving yourself the chance to play some weird openings, and Magnus does it in this game. Knight f3 g6, bishop out, and he goes f5, so we have a Dutch, and after bishop g2 he plays knight h6. Really weird setup. Let's see how he develops his pieces. That's the good thing about Blitz. You can play some weird stuff. Castle, knight f7, d6, and then castle. c5. 2 pawns clamping down in center. I prefer white here because of this weird, ugly looking backward pawn on e7. Let's see what happens. Queen there, getting the pieces out, bishop out, a6, getting b5 ready, take, take, bishop f5. And after knight takes f6 check, e takes f6, temporarily just blocking in this bishop. It just feels like black is very clogged up here, but there's a way to unravel. Let's see what happens. Queen there, bishop back. Rook e8, really good move. Magnus was talking about the fact that this pressure is going to be a bit too much, so he just wants to trade rooks off first, then try and get the pieces in the game. Rook e8. Also, this rook move allows a really nice maneuver. After rook e1, take, take, queen e8. Really, really cool way for the queen to just slide over. I don't think I've ever seen it like this before. The rooks come off, then the queen can slide over, then there's coordination between the queen and the bishop. You've got your pawn and knight here, time to maybe put the knight here, put the pawn here, we'll see. Queen e1, rook e8. Magnus understands that white rooks have been better than blacks, so he trades them off. Rooks come off, then he goes f5. This entire game, Magnus has just swapped down, and then we get this ending. And Magnus is one of the best endgame players ever. Why is black a little better here? Because all these pawns are on light squares, and so is this bishop. If Magnus can find a way to open up this side of the board, then these pawns will be targets. Let's see what happens. King closer. Push, push. So he's working both sides of the board. Knight e5 check. And here his opponent blundered with king e3. Maybe it doesn't look like a blunder because after knight g4 check, knight h2, this knight is trapped, right? But Magnus can see many moves ahead. f3, trapping the knight. No, because it allows the king in. King f2, king d4. King, and the knight is trapped. Wrong, because black's king is so active, Magnus activates his king, attacking the knight at the same time. If you play this, then your knight drops, and then the king is so far advanced, it's not actually the bishop that's going after all these pawns, it's the king. He's just found his way into the white position. After king e3, knight b1 played, but that knight was guarding that pawn. When the knight retreats, knight takes f3 check. By the way, no point going knight f1 check because then the knight can actually take it, and then this is lost. Knight b1, knight f3 check, take, take. Let's just see the rest. Take. Cool moment here because Magnus didn't actually see. Just a nice shot by white. Knight d2 check, and after this, knight c4. You see, even when Magnus is completely winning, he is not happy because as a top player, he wants to see everything. If he misses just one move, he just gets angry, and we see that on the stream. After knight takes c4, white is attacking this pawn, and this pawn is now passed. It doesn't matter in this position because black is 3 against 1. But what I'm trying to say is Magnus just gets frustrated at any move he doesn't see. I guess that's a sign of a top player. You're never truly satisfied. Knight c4, f4, take, g4. Completely winning. This king guards the queening square. There's no way for the knight to check the king. Game over. Check, check, and this is actually checkmate, funnily enough. If this bishop wasn't there, you'd have your normal checkmate, king here, and then queen just opposite the king, but there's a bishop existing on d7, so it actually guards this square. Really weird game where Magnus, he played a dubious opening, no space at all, but slowly unraveled. He swapped off the right kind of pieces, the 2 rooks, the bishops, and then he played better in the endgame. Thank you so much for watching all the way until the end. If you enjoyed this video, why not give it a like and subscribe to the channel at the same time. Make sure you press the bell, then YouTube will let you know when I release a new video. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.